Welcome to Making Waves, the ShipRocked podcast, part of the Sound Talent Media family and the fastest growing rock music podcast in the world. We have nearly 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 downloads this year alone. So thank you so much for the community. Yes, woo. And listen, guys, if you check us out, review, rate, subscribe, and share, please. And with that said, this is episode fittingly, well, we're going to skip 68. This is episode 69. It's just episode 69. In honor of Bones UK, Rosie and Carmen from Bones UK, thank you for joining us. I know it's late it's early in the morning for you being in London. So thank you for joining us. And you guys have had a very busy last part of the year. You just got a tour.
Comparative to last year, comparative to 2020, yes.
Well, absolutely. You just finished a tour with Eagles of Death Metal in your home country.
We did. It was the first time we've come back to the UK in 5 years. So to do a tour. So since we left for LA 5 years ago, we haven't played one show in England since. So we felt very guilty and were very excited to come back. But it was very cold.
Let me ask you, I was going to say, what's the reception of it like? Because they feel part of like, well, they don't claim us anymore, and now you're back. I mean, what was the reception like?
Pretty awkward, to be honest. No, it wasn't awkward.
They have a short memory.
Loved it. They were overjoyed.
Yeah.
It was amazing to hit places that we'd played at. People were there that had our shirts, like our first shirts that we didn't even remember doing. But then we played a bunch of cities we'd never been to. So it was like a nice juxtaposition of like a brand new crowd and then people that did remember us.
And you guys had a dip too, right? It was like one part of the tour and then you stopped for a little bit and then started back up in Europe, right? Or something like that?
Oh yeah, we have the European dates. It was all meant to be in one sequential vibe, but because of COVID, that thing, we have to split it up. So the second half is March now.
Got it. So hence why you're probably home for a while, right? Because you're like, why go back?
Well, no, we're going to do Christmas. Well, we're all doing Christmas in our respective homes. And then I live in Nashville. She's sort of, Carmen's in sort of LA. So we're doing holidays and then we go back to America on the 6th. And then obviously we're coming on the boat at the end of the month. So we have to get back to the US of A.
Absolutely. Please get on the soil so we can get you here safe and soundly. How was it pairing up with Eagles of Death Metal?
Great.
Yeah.
They are amazing. Like they're good friends from LA. So we sort of befriended them as some of our first LA friends when we moved there. And they've just been so supportive. Jesse's been so amazing. And when he asked us to do the tour, it was just like the fucking perfect vibe. We're such big fans. So the whole thing, and he's just like a really good friend. So it's like being on tour with family. It's great. Those are the best tours.
That's awesome.
I personally caught you guys when you played in Louisville, Louder Than Life. And it's interesting seeing the reception of American audiences to you guys. I mean, we're not, it's not unusual to have a female led band and female fronted band at, of your nature, but it was really inspiring seeing people in the audience really digging what you guys are doing, especially in the middle of the day. It's usually not the kind of thing you want as a band. You want a nice small club, dirty, dark, ready to go.
We're not quite big enough to get the nighttime slots yet at those festivals. So we always have like the 3 p.m., 2 p.m., like blazing fucking sunshine in your face, like really not feeling sexy at all because it's like daytime and you want to have a shot, but it's like 12. It's just like, it's always a bit of a, in a couple of years, I'm sure we'll be there. But like at the moment, we're still at that stage. It's always a bit, but we've seen it, they've all been going down really well and they're so much fun.
Yeah, my least. Sorry, Carmen.
No, I was saying Louder Than Life was a really fun one. I'm glad you were there. We really enjoyed that one.
That festival rules.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Weather was pristine too. So knock on wood on that. So
I was going to mention one thing about that 2 p.m. slot outside in that specific weather. Played it many a times across many of those festivals. I don't know if any of you guys have really dry mouths, but I sang, and whenever that would happen, it was like the first 30 seconds of this first song that I'm singing. All of a sudden, like my teeth are stuck to my lips, and I look like a crazy person. I'm like, yes, make some, and then until I can get some water and move away from the mic, it sucks. So
it's like one of those big, huge screens, so it's like everyone can see it. It's like this is like the least sexy I've ever looked in my life. yeah, it's a great experience overall.
There was one specific time I should make a mention of this where my friend was a photographer and she worked at one of those places. She was like a photographer that would sell it to like whatever fucking news source, and that would go to like all these different things. For some reason, she sent in her photos, one of them where I looked exactly like I just mentioned, like, and that photo was accidentally used for a death of some politician that was supposed to be in on all of the. So this guy dies, and it was supposed to be a photo of him, but somehow the photo of me on stage at Epicenter or one of those festivals of literally my teeth stuck to my lips was the photo that went across like 1,000 different blogs.
That is a fantastic story.
Yeah, so that's when you were like 2 p.m. I'm like, I know about this. Anyways, moving on.
Yeah, moving on. So the new single, Boys Will Be Girls, is this gonna basically kind of what people can look forward to in the new album? This sound, this direction, or is it just kind of a continuation of your album from 2019?
We'll let you know when we've finished the album, I suppose. That's true.
Right,
but
question answered.
Yeah, I'm gonna get back to you on that one. But yeah, no, it's definitely, yeah, it's Boys Will Be Girls is definitely like a standalone. But I mean, the new album's coming together really well. It sounds like the old stuff, but better, I'd say.
More honed.
It's the new version of the us.
Yeah, it's evolution. One thing I wanted to ask you, I've listened to that song over and over again. I really wanted to get familiar with it. And please don't take this as anything other than just my ears hearing it. Were you guys a fan of Blur?
Oh, yeah, I love Blur.
Okay, because it has kind of a feel.
Because you mean the boys who like girls, who like boys, who dig girls?
No, it wasn't even that. It just felt
great song though.
It sounds very English. Kind of
It's
that English.
It's the chorus. I wanted the chorus to be like that chant thing. So I felt like when coming up with the concept of the track, I just felt like, although this is a conversation we've all started having, there's not like kind of like anthem for it. And so I wanted that chorus to be like everyone singing along, you know? So, and I think that's something that Blur does really fucking well. It's like Park Life and all those things where you feel like.
I felt this is almost like a pub song. You know,
yeah, if you want to be pissed and sort of parading along with your mates and singing it together, and you listen to the chorus once and you get the lyrics and then you're in. So yeah, that's a huge compliment. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome, because some of your stuff from your debut album, and again, to me, it's just my ears that sometimes I hear kind of the lighter shades of like later Killing Joke. There's this kind of industrial kind of bounce to it, mixed in with the blues and everything else, and what you guys put over the top of it. So there's just all these little elements I hear. I'm like, I don't know if they're influenced by them, but that's what I hear as a listener. Yeah. So that's why I take to it.
No, I love that. I mean, the key thing for us is to not sound like anything else you've heard before. But it's like, but that means that we're probably going to sound like a lot of things you've heard before as well. I think that's the thing, is like, we take like a bit of that and a tiny bit of that and a tiny bit of that. But as long as we don't sound like exactly the same as another band overall, then we're happy.
Well, exactly. If you can combine all these elements together, it becomes your own sound.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. DNA is strange like that, as it appears in music and science, right? We don't exist without some other form of other things coming together, and as it moves forward. I didn't take any of those things away from what Justin did, but that's what's great about being subjective in music. I love your band, as I'm a big fan, just as the captain mentioned, and I love the new sound, and I love this. The video was fucking awesome. I just watched it like twice last night.
Do you think it sounds different to the old stuff? Because I can't even tell. Because it's so, you know, when you're making music yourself, it's like a natural.
It does.
It's not polarizingly different, but what it is I don't want to say mature, because you guys put out a very mature 2019 record of Crush, but it felt like you did it. Like, I always think about going on the road, until you play those songs in front of people, you don't know what you actually are aiming towards until you come back from it with the information and perspective and apply it to your next record.
Yes.
So it sounds like you ate some shit, right? You slept in some terrible places and you had some sleepless nights, and then you came home and like, all right, now let's fucking put the suit of armor on and go stab some motherfuckers, because that's what I took away from it.
Well, that's good. That feels like the
it remains what you guys did with the first record. Will like take this song and maybe a song like Girls Can't Play Guitar. It's like very raw, but very cheeky, and obviously very sexuality driven in that kind of way. You're playing with the gender roles and everything like that.
Yeah.
But that's what makes the song so fun. And because now you have an audience that's all encompassing, and it's not a girl thing, it's not a guy thing, it's everyone and everyone in between.
Yeah.
And it feels very current. if I, you know, like it's something that needs to be, these conversations we're having, right? Two dudes talking to two males two females in the industry. These are the conversations that need to be happening right now. So it's not just tongue in cheek. It's more or less evidence of a systematic change that needs to happen, or at least needs to start. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing is with everything that we do, we always try and there's so many things that we want to talk about, which are very serious things, which are obviously big problems, which are things that hurt people and things that we want to address. But we never want to do it in a way that's like preachy. So you're so right that we always try and do it with a slight sense of humor and that cheeky thing. Because I think there's nothing worse than kind of feeling preached at. And there's nothing that I think alienates people from listening to the point is if they feel like they're being shouted at, or you know, if someone's like being like you're. So I think the way that we always try and do it is with a sort of element of you know, play, but all the while making an important point. I think that's why I definitely make music, is to make those points. So
I want to, this is a so removed question from all this, but we talk about influences, and I have to go back to a song Leech off the debut. And Carmen, I want to know, there's a guitar part in there that is very Arabian influenced. Is that something you were like, is that something you picked up on, or just kind of came out that way, or you're trying to do that? It just, there's a constant guitar piece in there that has this Arabian influence, which is just so amazing because it kind of dances.
Well, there's two parts in that song. There's two different influences. One is the Arabian thing that also our producer Filippo Cimatti, like we played a lot with those major minor scales. So it's got a major fifth and a minor scale, and that's the Arabian kind of sound, whatever. But the solo itself is very Gilmour inspired. If you take them apart, it's just like there's two parts. But then yeah, I mean, think about it. Like it could be Arabian, it could be Django Reinhardt, it could be loads of different. I have a lot of those influences, but that it's a specific note that we've used a lot in that first record. Which is using
I was gonna say, I just found it very interesting from a guitar playing stance that you guys can kind of go from this really like just thick American blues sound to a sound like that, just showing the various degrees of musicianship within you guys.
It's always what the most important thing to us is when we're songwriting is what's appropriate to the song. So it's like, you know, it's like, what is the world that this sits in? It's like when we did Beautiful is Boring, it was like we kept talking about how we wanted it to feel like you're in like a vampire, you know, a club when it's like a vampire club and there's all these like freaks around, and it has that vibe. So everything musically then fitted in, you know, once we've got the kind of what the lyrical theme will be, then the music kind of fits around it. So that's why we can kind of, we try and play as much in the different zones, and we go in those different areas, is because it's just whatever suits, you know, whatever kind of point we're trying to make or whatever kind of vibe we're trying to put across. So it's like musical theater almost. It's like world making, it's, which we love. But you know, some people, we've had loads of criticism of that. People like, you know, it's too different. People sometimes prefer it just to be more straight down the line, but we have fun doing that.
So if I could expand upon that with your songwriting in general, are you taking top line vibes, like the picturesque version of what you're saying, and then you're saying molding music around that, so you're structurally forming it from the either melody or the words? It's
generally speaking, it's different, but generally most of the time the most successful songs that we write come from what's it going to be about. So it's like with the Girls Can't Play Guitar, for instance, that's like a true story that happened. This guy came up to us after a show and was like, "You'll never be as good as our band because girls can't play guitar as well as boys." I rang Carmen the next day. I said, "We're going to write a song called Girls Can't Play Guitar." And obviously Carmen's most, you know, the zone that she loves to explore in is, this is like her fucking moment. And the zone that she loves to explore in the most is the blues. That's where she's sort of like, so like, how that song needs to be this kind of like dirty fucking blues in which she can like put the dick on the table and be like, "Fuck you, mate."
Yes.
As an example.
Earn it. I want to come back to the idea of using cinematic kind of visuals to kind of structure your songs. Obviously, your videos, the aesthetic, the black and white aesthetic is so amazing. And I understand that those are done in-house between you two.
It's Rosie's the visionary. Rosie like has always done all of the aesthetic, all of the like you say it, but like Rosie's like always had this like world and created, and she directs everything and does all of our videos.
Yeah, they're very striking and they completely stand out in a world of overdone videos. The starkness of the black and white, which are beautiful, the tones are beautiful, really help them stand out and do piece together almost this storybook with each song. You guys are creating a cinema kind of piece to go along with the music. It's beautiful.
Thank you. It was a really easy way when we started the band. I went to art school and I'm really into visuals, and I wanted a way to uniform everything. I thought the black and white thing was a way that no matter where you're taking a photo, what kind of a camera you're taking a photo on, wherever it is, black and white, fucking pump the contrast right up and you're in the Bones world. So it was a really easy way to do that. And the music videos, like, I think of the music videos as I'm writing the lyrics. It's just like, this is what we're doing.
You made the videos what we call future proof.
Yeah,
by doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah. Someone can watch that in 20 years and go, wow, that's like super futuristic still.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. So you mentioned something earlier. You mentioned Carmen loves the blues. We got to get to it. You can't play with anyone better in the blues than Jeff Beck, and you guys did an album with him in 2016. I got to hear how this came together.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, it came together in a really like bizarre and organic way. I've been doing some work with Roger Taylor. Roger Taylor from Queen invited me to a birthday party. I met Jeff Beck. I was like, I'm in this band. I think you might really like it. I had no idea he would turn up to a show. And it was like one of our first ever Bones shows. Like literally, it was your parents, there was a dog and another 6 people. And then Jeff and his wife turned up and he loved the show. I don't know, said something amazing about it and took us out for an Indian dinner. And then asked us to go back to his, like, eventually, like, to his place and like start writing a record with him. And that was just,
he said he had a tour booked. He said, I have a tour booked with Buddy Guy supporting. like what? This is stupid already. And he's like, but I don't have an album and we need to make an album to like promote it. Would you guys come and write the record with me? And we were like, yeah, obviously. So we ended up just going to his house. We were just sitting around his fireplace in his living room for like 2 months, and then we just kind of put Bones on, and we'd started doing Bones but it hadn't really started, so we just put it on hold, obviously. We were like, okay, and then we just like toured the fucking world doing the record with him. So it was like winning like a raffle, you know. It's like,
you got to back this up for a second. Wait a minute. So
my mind just went poof.
Yeah, Jeff agreed to a tour with Buddy Guy without a record, so basically made a record in order to support the tour that he just agreed to.
He wanted
he'd done a record, but it was too instrumental and he didn't feel attached to it, and he wanted to talk about certain things and needed a lyricist or like someone like Rosie. Like, I don't know, he just like wanted to do a brand new record.
Yeah,
so that was it.
You know, and this all spawned after your show and said Indian dinner, and then from there you were.
It was mad. He literally took us out and was just like, "Yeah, this is the situation. Are you guys in or out?" And it was like, "Well, we're obviously in, Jeff Beck." And
did you eat your food first? Did you have your full stomach, or was he was that like it was waiting? He said, "Hold the dishes for a second."
No, you guys want to do it? Got all nervous. Got all full on non.
We turned up at the restaurant. Because at the time, obviously, we turned up at the restaurant with our amps, straight from the gig.
We had like full gear, full backline, drum kit, amps.
Were you in Camden at this time, or where were you at?
Yes.
Barfly, is that what you said? Oh,
King's Cross. Yeah.
Dude, I know what that's at. That's awesome.
It was ridiculous. And we ended up like touring with him. We did the American tour, which was like Hollywood Bowl, fucking Madison Square Gardens. Then we did like Japan, and then that was like a year. And then we sort of like, that's when we decided to move to America. Because like, oh, this is cool. Obviously, the Hollywood Bowl, we were like, this is great here. We could live, we could do this forever. And then we moved to
LA looks awesome.
which is ironic because you want to come to America because you love the opportunities, but you also covered Bowie's "I'm Afraid of Americans." So
We
there you go.
segue.
A little segue, right? But I think the idea. Let me ask you guys. You guys going? You're going and you're doing this big tour with working with Jeff, and you're playing these massive iconic venues. Is the idea then when you leave that and you go form your own thing, is that like basically your moment where you're like, we're gonna fucking get there one day? We're gonna be that band.
Yeah, the thing is, we talk about this a lot, but the thing is, like, the Jeff Beck thing was fucking amazing, right? It was ridiculous. It was the best thing that's ever happened. It was an amazing thing. But ultimately, that audience was there to see Jeff, and they're not like, obviously they were there to see Jeff. It's Jeff Beck, of course they're fucking there to see Jeff. So it was like, although we were doing it, it was amazing, but it definitely like ignited that hunger to be like, right, no, this has been an amazing experience. This has been wonderful, but we need to now go and like focus on having people who want to see us, who aren't just sort of like girls singing so that Jeff can play guitar. It was like, it was amazing, but you felt like that a bit because it's Jeff's a legend. And we had this amazing, when we were touring with Jeff, we actually had another tour with Bones. At the end of it, we were touring with Bones and Jeff. We were sort of flacking between the two. So we were staying in like 5-star hotels with Jeff and in like a big tour bus. And then we'd go to the Bones tour and we were like sleeping in the back of a Riot van that my friend had like in a van. We're just like sleeping on the floor, there's all of us we couldn't afford hotels. But the best thing about that lesson early on that we had was that it wasn't better. It wasn't like, oh, I can't wait to get back to the 5-star hotel. The kind of camaraderie that you get within that environment of like hard fucking touring it's
like home.
It's home. So it was a nice lesson to learn early on that all the that stuff, if you don't have the right family around you,
It's much different when you know the secret handshake. Like when you're around people who's like, what's up, dude? You ate ramen noodles too, whatever. Like, it's okay that I smell because that I've smelled like this and I've smelled you, that sort of thing. It's the best version. Yeah.
It made us wanted to do it. It made us wanted to do it for ourselves as well.
Yeah.
Do it.
I can't imagine what, so like, sorry, Justin, I know you're going to say that we're live now. You want to say?
Hey, well, let me say real quick. Hey guys, welcome everyone in Facebook land. Welcome to Making Waves, episode 69 with our guest Bones UK. Please welcome Rosie and Carmen. And if you guys have questions, during the next 30 minutes, please throw them into the thread. We'll get to them and we're going to continue our conversation here. Just to kind of fill you in, make sure, guys, Monday, this will drop the full episode. You got to check out the first half an hour. So interesting how Bones got to the point they're at. And right now we're just in the middle of talking about them being on the road and being part of Jeff Beck's band and also playing separately as Bones UK during this tour. So we'll continue with Chad.
So I was going to reverse before we go after the Jeff Beck stuff. So what I understand, right, up until this point of this first show you guys had played, that was the most successful situation you could possibly have. You guys were in a band that had other members that was called, I believe, Fake Club, right?
Yes.
And then did you guys split from that? Just was it a 4-piece or something? And then you were like, you guys go this way. 5-piece.
It was a 5-piece all-girl band that was kind of put together, and it was just like not the one. Everyone was very lovely, but it was just like one of those kind of like, you guys should all be in a band together situations with big management and money, and it was just like kind of, it just didn't feel, when the heartbeat is not beat, it's like it kind of made sense on paper, but the heartbeat wasn't right. Totally. So it was like, and me and Carmen hated each other. We were like,
hated each other.
Absolutely fucking hated each other.
Really? In the 5-piece band?
5 girls.
It was like a lot of people trying to put the lead singer against the lead guitarist against each other. And then the reason why the Bones then was born, it was just like at the end of it, when it all fell apart, we were the only ones that really wanted to work and really believed in shit. And like just called each other up. It's like, do you want to do this? Yeah, why not? And it was just, it was a really like amazing moment, I think, especially for me in my life. It's just like someone like we didn't like each other, and then we realized that we were the only ones that have same goal. And then we ended up being best friends after that, because it was just like, all the bullshit was gone.
It's like the perfect Disney story, to be honest. I mean, not that like downplay, but like that's something that you can't make up. It just write stuff. These two enemies in the movie, right? They end up having the most heart. That's why they cared so much about being against each other, is because they cared so much about the thing that they were doing. And when all the other bullshit was left around, you're like, what? Big hug, end of movie. Everybody leaves going home happy, and they call their high school bully, and they're like, oh, man, dude, we should start a band.
I love it. We should make it. We've already given away the idea of live on Facebook, so we need to patent that.
This is your IP now. They can't take it away from us. We have
it's gonna be the Bones UK comic. It's gonna be a comic. So
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's funny you mentioned that like, you know, there's like this infighting in this band, but then you go, well, the two people come out of it, usually the ones that run the thing. I mean, like, conflict's always good. Jagger and Keith, and then, like, you know, obviously Liam and Noel. I mean, there's always these great, the real creative aspects of it when the two leaders kind of go at each other, and then they find a common ground and decide, let's just go fucking make some art.
Yeah. Agreed. The most important thing is the work, you know, and the music, and it's hard. It's not like it's easy. It's fucking hard. Like the last tour we did was fucking hard. Like it was hard, and people are going to fight on it. It's grueling. Like it's harder than it's ever been being a musician. Just, you know, with all the different moving parts. And even just like the PTSD from the past fucking year, you know, it's sort of like we've all been let back out into the world to do our thing, but we're all not quite right yet. You know, everyone's kind of, you know, we're all like, oh, it's just going to be every moment. We're more tense than you will probably like to let on yourself. You know, it's like, it's hard, but yeah, we all love each other. We're such a good family.
Yeah,
sweatpants to denim. That's what I like to call that time. Sweatpants to denim. That's a real hard like outfit change.
Yeah.
You know, middle of the day, you're like, this sucks.
Sucking your gut time. Yeah, that's definitely one of the things. You're still kind of looking over your shoulder. You're like, wait, what are my social bearings here? Oh my God, I forgot how to communicate with people in a person-to-person thing. And like, can I stand this close? Can I not stand? It's just, it's crazy.
It was so hard. Like when I felt so out of shape. I mean, we did the first festival back, and just like moving and singing, I was like, good God, I used to do this. Like I used to like move and sing and play guitar all at the same time. I was so out of breath. I was like, fuck, I need to start working out immediately. And then I did my back in. So it's a good
damned if you do, damned if you don't. Yeah. Hey, Carmen, so like I gotta ask you this then, because I think about this all the time. The band I was in split up, and December 2019, then had no idea what was going to happen, right? So I'm just like, whoa, watching all my friends deal with all of the stuff on the road or whatever, while, you know, wondering what this is going to be like right now when you step onto that stage. Like you said, you think you're ready. All the gymming in the world, all the at-home practice in the world, you're going back through your pentatonics, and then you fucking hit that stage. How do your fingers feel? Like, you know, when you're playing some of the stuff that I've seen you, I watched a bunch of live videos. I'm like, that probably, now I'm thinking about it, that probably felt a little tendinitis-y or whatever when you hit that stage. How do you feel when you walked out there?
I mean, for me, like hitting back the stage was the best thing, because like, personally, like during the lockdown, I had a lot of insecurities and a lot of like a down moment where I just kind of stopped playing, and I felt really insecure, and I went through all these things of like trying to find myself and everything. And by the time we were hitting the festivals again, I'd been working through that and practicing, but by the time I got to the stage, it was a moment of like, oh fuck, this is where I belong. It like just came naturally, and that's my happy place. And that half hour, and hopefully soon it'll be longer sets, but like that moment is just, it comes naturally to my fingers. I struggle more not doing it on stage than I do like just performing. It just comes. But yeah, it was stiff for a bit.
That was very interesting, a perspective of that I didn't think about in all of that. It's like, oh shit, here I am thinking about like our backs, right? And then when you have like the thing that you use to speak to the world with and you get to actually say something for the first time in a long time, and it's got to be overwhelmingly cool feeling. So, yeah, I was like, oh shit, you're an idiot, Chad. I'm sorry.
I think
Great,
the really
awesome.
the really interesting part about all of that is that we think about the artists going back on stage after this hiatus, but you also have audiences who have not stood and watched live music in forever. Their ears are still kind of trying to figure out what do I do. Basically, you can kind of fuck up together a little bit, and and no one's judging anymore. They're like, man, they're just pulling for you because they're fucking just happy to be there again. Oh, God, it feels somewhat normal.
Yeah, it's.
I don't care if you just farted into the microphone for half an hour. Just give me something,
or a snare drum.
Yeah, I saw Foo Fighters. It was like the first show back. First show that I saw was the Foo Fighters at Madison Square Gardens, and it was like the fucking. I think it was one of the first. Like, it was the first concert back at Madison Square Gardens. My fucking God, the energy like in that room of like everyone, like, you know, just looking at that crowd, even just like the overwhelming sight of all those people in the same place. You know, it was like fucking hell. You tell Dave Grohl was just like almost crying. It's been such a journey. Yeah, and it's been so nice to be back playing him.
Do you remember what they opened up with? That's a curious situation, because if it's the first song of the reopening of this fucking massive place with all these people, what was it?
I think it might have been "I Got a Confession to Make."
Great
I think
choice.
It was like, and I think I did it. I think I did. I don't want to quote because there's gonna be someone who's like was there, like fuck you. That's not what they played, but I think it was that, and I think it was like a cappella.
Fuck.
Did it like it was like, and everyone was like crying. It was like we're all hugging each other, probably really bad for COVID. We're all like weeping to each other. It was so good. Music's powerful, man.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, speaking of being back, we're finally back for our cruise, and you guys have never done a cruise. And that's going to be the same in a smaller level, the same, though, kind of joy of being back to this thing that brings you so much, well, joy and love and camaraderie and community. So I think there'll be quite a few tears shed by people just have fucking relief out of anything like, fucking finally, we're working on this thing for what, 24 months now. So there's definitely that. So you guys will be able to kind of see that and gonna go, I know what that feeling is.
Can't wait. I just having met you guys and meeting the captain, everyone seems so lovely, and so we're just so excited to be part of this. We're really pumped.
I can't wait to talk to you after the ship, because I also am so curious what Justin mentioned, like the fact that the thousands of people who are on that and have been loyal fans forever and continue to like push what this experience is forward and forward. And you know about the ship because of other bands. I know about the ship knew about the ship because of other bands. And then subsequently here I am talking to you, you know, because of this whole ship. The camaraderie that you're speaking of in the Foo Fighters show, it's going to last a long time after the ship docks. It's just how it works. People will always turn out for you, you know, not just at their shows, but like for you. It becomes a family, right?
It's like
what's that?
Is it like summer camp?
Yes, exactly like
that vibe. I feel like you're going to see like the same group like down at the bar. You'd be like, Eddie. And is there
summer camp with a bar tab? Absolutely.
I literally just got a text from Johnny Tempesta, the drummer from the Cult. He's like, can't wait to see you on the ship.
Yeah.
You guys know Johnny Tempesta.
Yeah, we did. He's been on the ship. Plus, we've also had him here.
John is basically we have a John Tempesta wing in the boat. That's
he just saying, I can't wait to see you and Rosie.
See, and then when you walk out that ship, and you're going to be experiencing something that there's only, I don't even know how many bands, maybe two, maybe you and I'd have to look at the list again. But not only will it be your first ship, a cruise ship, it'll be the first time that these people have been able to come back and see something like this, and you're going to experience it all like freshly after you toured a little bit, but like freshly after like what you guys had just came off of at the end of the year. Cycle. It'll hopefully give you like a whole new lease on like humanity. At least I'm hoping it does that for me. So
it's gonna be like an experience. We're gonna buy captain's hats and wear them for the whole time.
Yeah,
and then drive the ship.
Have to. Yeah, absolutely have to.
Right?
Yeah, we're gonna give you something.
They're like dinner at the captain's table. Is that a thing? I feel like I want that to be a thing. Is that a thing?
Oh, Alan will make that happen. Yeah.
Score.
You might even
You
be
can
able
definitely
to
go on a tour of the bridge. You can see,
Yeah.
you can go up on the bridge and can see how the ship is directed. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Can we ask you some? Can we ask you some questions that might be lean into a little bit of an existential thing? We call it walking the plank.
Uh-oh.
And it's not necessarily about the band. It's not necessarily even about music. Sometimes we ask you a question, each of us, and then we usually have the fan ask a question. And I actually have a question from our last guest that I'll ask you.
Okay.
And then you'll get to ask a question to the next guest, but you don't know who the next guest is. So it's your own version of an existential question. So mine, if you don't mind us starting, my question to you is both, and I'll start with you, Rosie. Do you believe in coincidence or synchronicity?
Yeah, I believe that everything happens for. I definitely believe that you're exactly where you're meant to be at the time you're meant to be there.
Awesome.
Yeah, I
That
feel
works.
like is that the right answer to that question?
They're all the right answer because it's how you feel.
I feel like that everything, yeah, definitely, 100%.
The reason why I chose that question is because
Yeah.
of your. I had another question. I was like, I'm gonna have to change this
Chad,
because of this whole
go.
Jeff
Just
Beck.
go with it, man. You know
No, I'm
what?
asking the same question to Carmen.
Okay,
No,
okay.
I did.
heavily
Did you not
believe-
listen?
No, I thought you had a secondary question. To
Oh, no.
follow up this
I
one.
had one, and then I wanted this to be it now.
No, I
So-
You can
definitely.
ask a different question, otherwise it would be the same answer.
Is it?
Most
Yeah.
likely, yeah, of course. I do think that, like, yeah.
So you
I agree
believe?
with
So you share the same exact version of an answer. You believe that everything has its place and everything has a place in the fabric of time, and it's supposed to be that way based upon where you are.
Oh, it's different.
I
I
think-
feel like things can change. So
Well, yeah, but things can change. But I mean, I think that right place, right time. I don't want to overthink that question either. But
Okay.
it's also something that, like, yeah. I mean, if it happens, you can judge it for what it is in the moment, but you can't, like, over predict too much of whatever. If it happens for a reason, and you gotta work around it. I don't know.
I think you.
Respect.
I don't think everything's totally written though. I don't think that it's like,
No,
oh, this your path is already decided for you. Just to add.
No.
Just to add.
It's an interesting train of thought when you start to really think about it. You don't have to be committed to it. It's just a question, but I do love your answers. So thank you. That was my question.
I'm going to bring my question back to music, and I want to know from each of you. We'll start with you, Rosie. What song basically brings back the strongest memories for you?
It's got to be. There's a Randy Newman song called Marie. Oh no, yeah, Marie. The song called a Randy Newman track called Marie, and it's like, do you know this song? Do you know Randy Newman?
Yeah, at first I thought you were going to say short people. I'm like, you're kind of tall, so I get it.
I am very short, so it's not that, and it's not like a bullying song. There's a song called Marie. My dad is an absolutely huge Randy Newman Randy Newman fan, and I remember when I was tiny, and playing it to me as like an example of beautiful storytelling within a song. So it's Randy Newman's Marie.
So Marie just reminds you of your father.
It reminds me of my father, but it also reminds me of the first time that I like sat down and listened to lyrics and listened to like someone putting together a piece of music to tell a story. And I always remember that because it was like, oh, wow, he's really painted a picture here.
Yeah. Carmen, what song evokes the strongest memories in you?
Well, you can't always get what you want.
The Rolling Stones.
Stones, yeah. Just because I've said this before, but it's just like I have this very vivid memory. My parents, very unmusical parents, but music lovers. Always had a jukebox in the house, and there was just like this track. And my dad used to say, "This is my religion. Sit in this." And my mom was like, "You get what you want, but if you try, sometimes you just might find you get what you need." It was like, this is what we're preaching, this is what we believe in, and that was just kind of like, and I also have very fun memories of like playing it with my friends and in bars and stuff like that. So it's just like a couple of chords and a very significant song.
Have you guys been to Amsterdam?
Oh yeah.
I'm
Do you
Dutch.
guys recall? Okay. Do you recall? What's the name of the bar that has that on the awning? It has. You can't always get what you want on the awning outside the bar.
It's in Lederplaats. I can't remember what. I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Okay, just reminding me when you said that. I thought that's very cool.
But yeah, my father is Dutch, so there.
Yes, obviously the name should have been a dead giveaway. So, anyway, listen. I wanted to talk too about the Unplugged album, the EP. Listening to that, it's amazing to listen to because now, as a listener, I can hear kind of more the textures of the songs, other than focusing on the lyrics and the themes. I hear some really incredible textures in playing when everything's kind of stripped away. You can really hear it. So, Rosie, talking about Randy Newman stripping things away, I felt that when I listened to the Unplugged record.
Thank you. It was Carmen's, but I mean, when it was all started because the label was like, we'd like some acoustic version of some songs, and obviously us being us, I came up with like a movie that I wanted to make, and Carmen wanted to like orchestrate like a whole new version. We're like, we don't do things like simply, so I was like, we're gonna make a short film, and Carmen's gonna rearrange all the tracks so that they're like with an orchestra, not an orchestra, like some strings and stuff. So it was she did the music.
Well, yeah, no, because they came to us expecting us to do an acoustic version, just like acoustic guitar and vocal. And yeah, Rosie had this whole idea of the short film with all these creatures and everything. And the whole acoustic EP was recorded all live with an audience at YouTube studios and filmed. So it was just two takes of each song, which is like, yeah, we rearranged them all and reorchestrated them because it was fun. It was a beautiful experience.
That's awesome.
Beautiful. I know Chad has a question that he still needs to ask, but I wanted to speak when you talked about rearranging it. Beautiful is Boring took on a whole, it almost became like a new song.
Yeah. I love that version. Like, we perform it quite a lot when we're doing sort of the radio rounds. It was really nice to sing it. Like, it was really nice to perform it like that. You can tune into the lyrics more. For me, it's really nice to do that. Yeah, and it's kind of dark. I remember singing the melody over the top, and this weird sort of slight variation on the melody came out immediately, and it was amazing. It was fun to explore that.
Yeah, one of my favorite things is rearranging songs. So adding different chords to a pre-existing song is kind of a fun thing. The melody, everything was there already. It just, it's just a different take on it.
So with the Riot Games stuff, then if I can move into that real quick, did they just take your master, or did you get to rearrange a song, or did you make it right directly for the okay?
So they contacted. It was a fucking wild. We were in the middle of we were doing the demos for the second record, and they got in contact saying they were fans of the band and they wanted us to work on it. And we're not like gamers, so we didn't know like the gravitas of how cool it was. This thing, we got told about it. We were like, oh yeah, it's like whatever. It's like arcane fucking Riot Games thing, whatever. Like suddenly learned, they're like, oh my god, this is like fucking sick. And then they sent us the show. First of all, they sent us some copies of the show, and we just were immediately hooked. Like the animation is just like ridiculously fucking beautiful. And we worked with this amazing guy on it, and he sent us through some instrumental ideas that he had. Yeah, some instrumental ideas that we had, and we just top lined it, and then worked out Carmen did some guitars up. So it was a collaboration between us and the producer, who's an incredible guy. The whole team is so cool. Like they're so cool, and to be part of that was just such an honor. We didn't like realize it at the beginning of the process, but we like sure as hell realized it by the end how like amazing it was to be part of that. But yeah, it was a big collaboration. We usually work with the same producer, and it was a different producer. It was this lovely guy.
That's so cool that you went into it and you got to like experience. I'm not a gamer either, like I don't play, but I understand the terrain, what's going on there. And when I read that, I was like, oh, fuck, that must have been like just mind. And then when you're like, we weren't gamers, I'm like, that's even cooler because you just did something so sick. That like it
happened to us with the Bowie tribute as well when we did the David Bowie one. When Howard Stern asked us to I'm Afraid of Americans, we didn't know I'm Afraid of Americans. We were like, let's just Google this song because it's like lesser known Bowie song. I remember I heard it a few times. I'd never heard it, but it was the same thing. Like once we heard it, we were like, "Oh, this is gonna be fucking sick!" Like Trent Reznor was like, "Oh, this is like perfect for us." But it was once again, you just take that second to like get the fresh eyes on it, which I think sometimes quite good.
Yeah, the arcane thing though opens you up to a whole new audience.
I know.
That may have not been there prior. So yeah,
it was like number 4 when it first went up. When it first got up, it was like number 4 in the some kind of a chart on Spotify. It was amazing.
Yeah. It's crazy. I love it. I love that. I love the story too, and the energy that you were just like, yeah, let's fucking do it. What is that?
I know.
We loved it. We performed at one of the event things that just happened, like the launch thing.
That's what I thought it was at first. I thought, and then I read in a little bit further. I'm like, oh shit, they didn't just do the show, which is also dope. They did the fucking song that I'm listening to right now. That is in. Oh my god, they must have been huge gamers.
It did like this. They did this launch, like this immersive. I don't know if they've done Secret Cinema or something. This like sort of you sort of meet an actor and he tells you to go down a corridor and find another. It's one of those like immersive experiences, which I fucking absolutely love. Like it's my fucking happy place. So like they did one of those and we're like at the end of the game when you get there, then we're playing on stage. And there's Paris in it and Miyabi's. It's loads of cool artists. It's so sick.
That just gave me shivers. I do have one last question for Making the Waves from our last guest, and then I will shut up and let you guys get to sleep because it is pretty late out there. So last episode we had, she'll be on the boat. Her name is Madame Mayhem. She's going to be with the is the band playing, Justin, or is it just the?
She'll be with Stowaways.
Stowaways. Okay. Her question for you guys that she didn't know who it was going to be was, what band has been the best band you've toured with and why?
Ooh. That's a loaded question, isn't it? That's hard to say.
It's tough.
I'd say my personal favorite would have been Grandson, who's also going to be on the boat.
There you go. Wow.
I was going to say
great dude.
Grandson's on BFF.
Okay. Well, I smell a collaboration on the boat, Chad. What do you think?
It's going to be like in the karaoke room. It's going to be like us all in the karaoke room.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I'll show you where this piano is when we get on there, and it's a secret space, and we'll just go jam out there. So okay, so then what would you like to ask our guest next week?
Carmen, you have to do
it. Give me a sec.
Okay. Dun dun dun. I wish I had the.
Well, while you're coming up with that, while you're thinking, I'll kind of talk to the people.
Okay, no. My question is okay. Because I listen to we do sometimes like in the dressing room, very different music to what we play. Mm-hmm. So, what is the music that calms you down like before you go on stage? What's your go-to music before you go on stage?
I typed that down. Now I gotta ask, what is it? What do you guys listen to that calms down or pumps you up? What is it?
Eye of the Tiger, the song Eye of the Tiger.
I thought Survivor said.
No, but sometimes we put coffee table jazz sometimes.
Coffee table jazz mixed with Eye of the Tiger?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Mine was New Noise by this band called Refused. And that was what I had in my earbuds. And then it became this Billie Eilish song, You Should See Me in a Crown. And that's what I listened to every time before I went on the stage for like the last tours we did. That's an interesting one though, Eye of the Tiger. I'm going to listen to that right
after. Walk-on song for one tour with, I think it was Highly Suspect, right, as an actual legitimate walk-on song, which is an embarrassing period that I don't really want to talk about.
Were you on tour with them?
Yeah, perfect.
That's a good way, guys. It was so hard to walk to as well. I'd be like,
I didn't mean it. My question wasn't the walk-in song. It was just what calms you down before going on.
Yeah,
okay,
before they
got
it. 10 minutes.
What calms you down before taking the stage is what I wrote down.
Yeah.
Got it.
All right. Well, listen, we've had you guys for an hour, and we can't thank you enough, considering it's 2 a.m. your time right now. And Thank you so much for everything. We appreciate it. And speaking of live, we'll see you in January, guys. Remember, Bones UK is part of our ShipRocked 2022. And if you guys haven't checked them out, check them out beforehand. Sumerian Records, I can't even speak anymore. Their debut, check that out. Get fully ingrained, know every word, because that way you can sing it back to them when they're playing. And also check out the new tracks, Dirty Little Words?
Animals.
Dirty Little Animals. Jesus Christ. It's 8 o'clock here. It's late. And then Boys Will Be Girls. Check it out. Check out the video. Check out all the videos. They're beautifully done, black and white aesthetic videos, and you guys will surely enjoy them. Thank you, Rosie, Carmen. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
See you soon. Thank you for being here.